to a high standard production.
All right, man. Welcome back to the Geek Set Podcast, the only podcast that blend hip hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and you are now watching 101 with Deuces. And right now, man, I am speaking with a legend. I'm talking about just one of the GOATs, somebody that, like, if you don't know, you probably did know, but you didn't know that you know, if that makes sense. But somebody who is very, very culturally important, somebody who can speak for the people and has the track record to back it, meaning that if he says it, we can back it up without without fear of reprisal and anything. But I'm talking to the legend, Carl Jones, man. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to be on your podcast.
I know we've been trying to get this about a year and a half now, man.
Yeah.
But you know, it's dope. Like I explained to you, you know, at that time we were, you know, getting our footing. And the one thing about COVID that forced us to get creative is we was like, you know what, let's take this opportunity to do what we've been planning on doing. And one of the things was talking to people like you. And so I was like, you know, at that time we would have did the interview and it would have still been dope, but like, you know, it would have definitely been more so not much of us offering anything to you, but more so you looking out and helping us out, which we appreciate. But now I feel like in the space that we are in, and the following that we have built and the relationship that we have built, I felt like now I can actually contribute something to the Carl Jones empire and at least bring some people that may not be aware of the work that you've done. Like, oh, that's bro, you know, and I think that that's dope as fuck. So like, again, I appreciate you. And, you know, with the intro, like I said, I mean, I'd like to make sure that we are giving people their flowers while they're here, you know, because like when you think about the stuff that you did, the Boondocks, Black Dynamite, shit, Freaknik the musical, like just, you know, just in general, you know, and even like, if I'm not mistaken, you're producing on the last OG right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
and then,
yeah.
Yep, and then you got like we're gonna get into some other stuff because you did something just came out recently with the Black Lady sketch show, and then you got something coming out on HBO Max. But yeah, man, like, you know what I'm saying? So this is something like I was like, I need to make sure that I talk with bro, you know what I'm saying, and get him on here.
Nice.
How's COVID been treating you though?
I mean, you know, I'm pretty much an introvert anyway, and so it's been like every other day, I guess. You know, being in quarantine, but also like, I don't know, for animation, it's been kind of good. I hate to say, but you know, it's one of those mediums where everything is already compartmentalized. So,
yeah.
You know, Hollywood shut down, you know, and animation was left standing. So it's been pretty good because there's a lot of opportunities that come my way because of it, unfortunately and fortunately.
Well,
you know
and that's what I kind of found is that the creators in this space, because a lot of the times your creative space is within your whatever your man cave is or whatever your creative space is, like you have your area where you go to, that this just kind of helped, it kind of like made you buckle down and work on some stuff, and you actually may have became a little bit more productive during this time because you're like, well, I got nothing else to do but just to focus on this. And so you got to produce some stuff, put some things together and everything. And, you know, that's what I've been seeing, talking to, you know, people during this time, is that if you are a creative where you are the engine to your empire, then you, like you said, of course, you know, you're affected by, you know, the people and not being able to get out there, but it did allow you to just focus on things and get things done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I got a question, and this is just kind of a general question because you both just in both cultures, hip hop culture and geek culture, what do you get more? Do you get the listen to my music more, or hey, I got this idea more?
Wow, that's a good one. Damn, probably listen to my music more.
Okay.
You know, yeah, because I think like, well, for one, man, everybody and their mother is a music producer nowadays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got beats. And a lot of what I've done, I think, speaks to the hip hop culture, and you know, and it's interesting, man, because I was just talking the other day about how, you know, a lot of young artists right now like grew up watching stuff that I made, which is weird because I never really like to separate myself from the culture, and I don't realize like some time has passed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like Super Duper Kyle, I was doing some stuff with him, and he was like, dude, like when I was a kid, I was watching like Boondocks.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, it was that long ago. It's crazy. So there's a lot of young kids, like really, really young kids that was watching stuff that I was making when I first got into the industry, and like, you know, they're either producing music or they're rapping and making music.
Right.
And I think, so I get a lot of people that I don't know, that just do music that was inspired culturally by, you know, a lot of the shows that I make. So I think, yeah, a lot more artists and producers and beats, and I get a lot of that. But I do get a lot of people on the animation side, but it's more like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that there's a lot of us that are draw and that are really talented. Yeah. We just don't really know how to position ourselves to like sell a show or to produce a show or get your stuff seen by anybody. That's the question I get most of all, because like I go through Instagram and I see artists that are like, I mean, just insanely talented.
Listen here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Comic book and animation, animators or whatever. And they just, you know, the main question I would get is like, how do you get,
right?
How you get your stuff seen? How do you sell a show? How do you, you know, and that's not as frequent as I get mixtapes, but that is, I usually try to take the time to talk to those people because I was in that position too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'll never want to forget, you know, how important that was to have mentors and people reach their hands out to help get you where you are, because, you know, that's important, man. You know, so I know that wasn't really your question, but I just
it's important though, because like in this Black community in general, just the plight that we have to go through to get anything and anywhere, right? You know, so like when we have people who have went through that struggle and don't gatekeep, like that is something that we definitely 100% needs to make sure that is highlighted. And I think that that's one of the things that did make me really want to interview you and talk with you, because I've been following you on Twitter for quite some time. And you know, the one thing that you can see from certain people, I know that, you know, Twitter, you're not supposed to take everything as face value, but one of the things that I always pay attention to is like how people interact with people that reach out to them, right? And seeing you and seeing how you interact with fans or just other up and coming creators and even musicians, I was like, oh, so that's dope, you know, because it's like you don't build that wall. It's not that, you know, and you don't think of yourself higher than, you know, you take that time to speak with somebody. I've seen you have, you know, a good back and forth with a couple of people, and not like, not a bad back and forth, but like a back and forth conversation with people on the timeline, and of them just either ask you questions or just, you know, bringing up things. And, you know, just even watching and listening to some of your interviews and watching some of your interviews, you know, you're not afraid to be you in anything. Like you have a comedic value to yourself, but you're not always on, like, you know, you're not always performing or anything. So I think that like that's right there, that's super important. But I think the reason why you probably get so many artists still that comes up to you is because a lot of the things that you've produced and a lot of the things that you were part of are still culturally relevant, and it stands the test of time. You know, the Boondocks, Black Dynamite, you know, just, you know, even Freaknik the musical, like all of that stuff, it stands the test of time, that even if you watch it now, you'll still genuinely love it, and you'll get some good belly laughs from it, and, you know, you'll relate to it because the characters were just so of the culture and everything.
Yeah. And also, you know, I started out as an artist, you know, and I transitioned into writing and producing. You know, so I think once a lot of people find that out, you know, I get a lot of artists that hit me up, because usually, man, artists are good storytellers. They just, you know, it's one of those things where I've seen many people in the industry who started out in storyboard or started out as a character designer have trouble like really getting their foot in the door in terms of producing and writing, because they get pigeonholed. You know what I'm saying? Like people think, oh, if you draw pictures, you can't also write. You know what I'm saying? Which is not ever the case. You know, as a matter of fact, most of the most successful animated series you see right now on TV are ran and created by people who actually started out on the visual side. Started out like Seth MacFarlane was all, you know what I'm saying? He's an artist. Matt Groening, who did The Simpsons, he's also, you know what I'm saying? So, and then you got Walt Disney, of course. Like, there's many people who, you know, started out more so in as an animator or as a visual designer or artist and transition into that. So I try to inspire a lot of artists to tell stories too. You know what I'm saying? Like, because usually you have that both skills. You know, it's just a matter of applying it. You know,
it's funny because I would think on a flip side, it would be artists having issues with trying to condense it, because you got to think as an artist when you're creating, your attention to detail is different, right? You know, you may draw something and I mean like, oh man, it's amazing, and you may be like, but the way I did that hand there, I don't like how I did that hand there, but it's like it's something that I wouldn't pay attention to, but you as an artist would, right? And you will pick it apart. So I would think that artists probably would have a different fight of more so putting too much detail into a story and not being able to formulate it into a 30-minute or, you know, an hour episode or whatnot. I would think that would be harder.
No, that's an interesting point, man. That's true. You know, it's what I found is even with script writing, it's hard to write a script. It's harder to write a shorter script than a longer script, if that makes sense. Like, so you know, typically we'll do like a 22-minute show.
Yeah.
So the script count, the page count would typically be like around 30 to 32 pages. They always come in, like Boondocks scripts used to come in near 50 pages, because it's just so much story that you want to, you know, that you so much you want to say, so much you want to do. There's so many characters you want to have in there, and it's so, you know, so it's like the difficulty is condensing it down into 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So like when you watch Boondocks, like the Boondocks was, I always say we were doing like 22-minute movies because we covered a lot of ground in 22 minutes. Like, you know, there were character-driven stories, but the plots were really insane. Like we would go real crazy places, and it was literally like we had the act structure of a movie. Yeah. You know, so that is a difficult thing to do, even on the writing side. You know, to be able to pull back, and on the visual side, you know, when you're dealing with deadlines, you know, it's like you have to know those important words good enough, because, dude, like it'll never be perfect. Yeah. And because of the schedule and the little bit of time that we have to produce these shows, which it seems like a lot in the grand scheme of things, it is like it takes like 2 hours to produce. I mean, not 2 hours. It takes like 2 years to produce like 15 episodes, but the schedule is so jam-packed and so crazy that you just don't have a lot of time to finesse over the detail. You know what I mean? Like you gotta at a certain point you gotta stop noodling with it and let it go. And that's a discipline that you got to develop to work in that business.
You know, listening to the story from how South Park stayed relevant, like the fact that they were pumping out episodes pretty much weekly, but they were starting their process like the week before. Like I felt like that was like that got to be insane. And like when I think about the Boondocks and I think about, you know, the topics that you guys covered, it's like, man, you have to have that discipline, because at some point it's like, okay, this story is going to be a little bit old. We need to make sure that we can tell this story, but we got to go on because there's something else that's happening, you know? So
that happens. That happens a lot, man. You know, we always have that conversation. Like, I was a little nervous when we did this episode about this character we call the Booty Warrior.
Yeah.
And so when it hit, it came out on TV. Well, you know, they interviewed the guy on TV first, but then when it hit the internet, you know, I was kind of nervous, like, because that was around the beginning of like World Star Hip Hop and all that. Like, so there was not like you know, it was kind of unprecedented, honestly, like to take stuff off the internet and then turn it into an episode and expect it to be relevant. Like we didn't know if like 2 years from now if this would actually work. But it turned out a lot of people never seen it.
Yeah.
You know? And so like it caught fire, and then I saw people posting stuff where they went back like, yo, this is a real nigga. Like this
So I actually saw it before it came out. So when I saw it, I was in tears. But yeah, the fact that still happened. But okay, quick question. Did that episode come out before the beef with Granddad?
The beef with Granddad. You talking about
with Thugnificent and Granddad?
Yeah, that came out before.
Okay, because the only reason I bring it up and I was bringing those together is because you guys referenced like the old school Soulja Boy beef when they were standing with the video, and I was like, that's still like, even though that was years ago, that was still like culturally relevant. Like people still, you know, connected to that. And then, but the Boondocks did that a lot though. The Boondocks did grab things that was in the moment that was either off the internet and still made it a thing. And I think that it kind of became one of the things that like, okay, what is the Boondocks going to reference? Like we were like, as a viewer, as a fan, you know, even the subtle references that you guys made, it was just something that we look for. It was that like something that you guys like started developing, like noticing, or?
Well, you know, what happened was, honestly, like, I just got addicted to like World Star, and Vlad TV was the other one, right?
Yep.
And so
it was like one of our taboo places to go.
I mean, like, honestly, that shit became like my morning paper. Like I would wake up in the morning and I would just be, for like an hour or 2 hours, I would just be downloading all of this shit. And like, so I think it started as that. It was just an addiction for me, right? And I was just like watching all these weird, obscure videos, man. Right. Like, and I started sharing it with the writers' room and Aaron, and we just started watching a lot of it, man. And like, I think one of the other ones that was really popular was remember Latarian Milton, the little
oh yeah.
Smoking with cigarettes.
Yeah,
you know,
like, my friends.
That was the one I think like we was the most excited about. You know what I'm saying? Because we did because that was it. So we watched the video,
right?
And we were like, all right, we got to do something with this kid, right? And then the next conversation was like, well, how do we weave our main characters into a story with this kid?
Yeah.
So the natural progression of the story was to have Riley become friends with a kid that's worse than him.
Worse than him, yeah.
Right, because Riley really wasn't like a bad kid.
Nah, Riley was more he was kind of a poser. He was every black stereotype, but he didn't really do it in full.
Exactly.
He just embodied it.
Exactly. He wasn't a real gangster. He just wanted to get that cred. He just wanted to get that love and clout. So we thought, like, what if he ran into a kid that was really about that life?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And was a little off. And so we were like, yo, what if we followed the storyline of Juice, you know, with Bishop?
Yeah.
And then somehow we went from that to Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Like the movie Halloween. And we like mashed those two together and did a parody. And that one was like, that was one of the ones we were really like excited about. But it started with just a video on World Star. You know what I mean?
Did you guys have to reach out to him or his people at all?
Well, I think originally I was trying to get him.
Oh, to do the voices?
Yeah, and I can't remember if he was like because he got in some trouble behind it, and I think that's what it was. I think they were trying to steer away from
makes sense.
You know,
that image that
right. They didn't want, so we had to change his name and just make him look a little different.
Okay, all right. Now, but like with the casting, because one of the stories that I saw you talk about was like also like you having to become Thugnificent. That wasn't the idea at all. It was supposed to be somebody else. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to tell the story? That's
crazy. Yes. That's funny you know about that. So I did mention that. I forgot I mentioned that in the interview. So so what happened was we came up with the idea, right? And we're trying to think of who would be the perfect rapper to move next door to Granddad and become like a nuisance in Woodcrest. And you know, we thought like, yo, you know, Ludacris would make the perfect, you know, he would be the perfect rapper to move in. And so we reached out to Luda, and he was like, yeah, I do it. He was like, I just want you guys to do my album cover, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I said, I'll do it. And he was like, fine, right? So I'm doing some rough designs of I think this was, I want to say it was it chicken? Was it, I think it was Chicken and Beer.
Chicken and Beer.
Was it called Chicken and Beer?
It may have been because around that time he was doing a lot of animated stuff. I think like even in that video, in his video. Yeah. So it may have been around that time.
I think that's what it was. But anyways, so I did some rough concepts, and he gave us his number and everything. So I was calling him, and he just wasn't answering the phone because I was trying to get. I needed to get like an email address or something so I could send them, or I was going to text. I can't remember. I know I was trying to get some images in front of him so I could get him to sign off before I move forward, right? Meanwhile, we're writing the episodes with him in it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not able to get in touch with him. The window passed to record him. So I ended up having to scratch all the lines, which basically means I had to just do temp. I had to do a temp, dialogue so that the artist, would have something to board to. And, hopefully we'll get him and we'll just come in and just replace his lines, replace the scratch and I do his, right? So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to block my number and I'm going to call this thing. So I blocked my number and he answered. And he was like, yo, who this? And I was like, hey, Luda, it's Carl from the Boondocks. And he was like, oh, well, yo, I don't usually answer numbers coming from blocked numbers. And I'm like, okay, but you did answer it. So while I got you here, he said, nah, man, I don't do this. And he hung up. And I'm like, wow, all right.
Yeah. So
then it was really pushing to the point where, like, if we didn't have him to record, like, it was nothing we could do. And the story went a little further, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, no, we gotta get into that.
But at the end of the day, we were stuck with my voice doing it. So Aaron was like, yo, you should just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit was, it made us laugh. And you know what's funny? So this is before I knew who you were. And I just remember, like, I'm like, who the hell is this voice of Thug? Because Thug Magnificent was one of my favorite characters of all time. And I'm like, I gotta find out who is this. And like, it was funny because, like, I felt like, when you Google search, you see, like, most Google. So many people were Googling it. Like, I saw Avian Crockett linked to it at one point. Yeah. Like, it was so many people there. I was like, nah. I was like, because I feel like Avian Crockett would talk about it. Somebody was like, oh, it's Mike Epps. I was like, nah, Mike Epps is his granddad. Like, he's not playing multiple. He's granddad's buddy from the back, back in the day. I was like, nah, like, we couldn't find it. And then when I finally found, I was like, Carl Jones. And I was like, I wasn't that familiar with who you were at that time. So, of course, me just being trying to figure out who you are and everything, that's when I kind of got introduced to you. But then going back and realizing, like, everything else that you were involved in, that was kind of like my introduction. But it stemmed from Thugnificent because I was so, that character to me was so funny. Like, just in, like, his intro and everything. Well, I was trying to, what I was trying to do with the voice, I kind of got stuck doing this big voice because I was trying to do Luda when he's like, but when it's like, when he's being real big, like, what's up, man? This is Luda. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, what's up, old nigga? You got some work and welcome for all this Thugnificence. Yeah. But so I was doing that, all of his lines I was doing like that. Like, he was just always on blast. And so I would come out of the booth and my throat would be like killing me, dude. Just like screaming every single line. So I'm like, but I started it, so I had to finish, you know what I mean?
Now was Boondocks your first, like, voice acting?
Yeah, that was my first role, but Boondocks was the first show. My actual the first role that I actually did on Boondocks was I don't know if you remember this, but so there was a oh man, was it the R. Kelly episode? All these episodes kind of blend together in my head. But
I watch it a lot, so I'll probably figure it out.
So it was a scene where we did a flashback with Granddad, right? Because it was the Martin Luther King episode.
Oh wait, I think I already know. Let me see if I can guess. Was you the one who was like, man, this nigga went to go get a raincoat?
This nigga went to get a fucking raincoat. Yeah, that was.
Oh shit, nah, that's funny.
Yeah,
hey, that's one of my. There's two shows that I watch religiously, probably multiple times, like once a year. It's The Wire and Boondocks. I watch The Wire every year once, and I watch the Boondocks like every year all the way through once. And yeah, me and my guy Payroll, man, we always talk about that episode because we just find it funny as hell, like that back and forth that you and Granddad had. He was like, well, I thought everybody's gonna get a raincoat. I was like, we've been watching the same shit every day.
Yeah, right. Right.
So being with the Boondocks being your first, and then you getting firsthand to see Regina King work, like, what was that process like? Like, how was that for you?
Man, Regina was, amazing. She's amazing. What's interesting is she, so at first she was going to play Riley and Alicia Keys was going to play Huey.
Right.
Well, that was at least what we were feeling at the time. But then, like, Regina, we went back and listened to Regina's audition, man, and she just killed it, man. She killed both of them. And then, like, watching her in the booth, like, once she actually, once we actually did hire her to get the role, whatever, like, she would bounce back and forth between characters. Because at first, when she first started, she would do all Riley's lines first and then do all Huey's lines separate. But then she got so nice with it where she was just like bounce back and forth on the page, like go right between Huey and Riley, and they would sound completely different, but still sounded like they were brothers. Yeah. So you heard like there was some similarity, but still different personality. And like she used to, I mean, she was just, she's amazing, man. Really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I think that is something that a lot of people don't really highlight, because the fact that she's doing both within one take.
Yeah,
like that is crazy. And you
know what else she did was before she did the role, she studied the you remember the Peanut specials? Yeah, the Charlie Brown specials.
Yep, Charlie Brown joints. Yeah.
So they used to use real kids, right? And typically in animation, they'll use adult girls to play young boys.
Yeah, like Bart Simpson is voiced by a woman. Yeah,
exactly, right. And so, because their voices change once they hit puberty, then they go from sound like a little kid to Barry White. So in this case, like she studied like real children doing these roles, because they have a different cadence, and they take more breaths in between lines. So she like studied how children speak and how they do voiceover and some, in the Peanuts, and that's what she brought to the table for Huey and Riley.
Yeah, no, that was dope. That's dope. During that time, how many artists was like, "Hey, man, you got to get me on the show"?
like rapping and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the first season, after the first season aired, we started getting those kind of calls. Because we at the time we didn't know the show was even going to be like a hit or nothing, so we didn't. I was surprised because
I used to buy the book. Remember, like they'll do the strip, and then every now and then they'll put out the book with like the full thing. I used to always buy that, and so I was when I heard about Boondocks being created, I was super geek. And then at that time, like I was deep into Adult Swim, so like watch like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and just everything that was on there. So then when it was like, the Boondocks is coming to Adult Swim, I was like, I was super geek, because I was like, one, it's not going to be like edited, like even though you guys did have some censored into it, but it was like you have a little bit more leeway that you can do, so you can really bring these characters to life and let them really be who they are. And I think that was dope. But it was just like you can tell as the season progressed, like how big the show was getting, because then you start seeing the likes of like Mike Epps and Kim Whitley and just like all these other major names that by voice, like
Sam
know
Jackson,
them by voice. Yeah, Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson and like Sam Jackson and Charlie Murphy. Those are like it's funny because it's like I keep on telling you, that's one of my favorite characters. But then as I keep on talking, that's one of my there's so many characters that I love in the Boondocks. And once it like right now, looking back on it and how much it means to the culture and everything, like I think is like have you taken the time to sit back and like just like, wow, we actually did history with this?
Not really, man. Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to watch the episodes now, for different reasons. Like, one, I see a lot of mistakes, or I see stuff.
You're a perfectionist, though, so
Yeah, and then and I see things that like I wouldn't have done, or I know things that we wanted to do but couldn't do, so we had to settle for that.
Okay.
And so those kind of things kind of bump me a little bit when I'm watching, so it keeps me from kind of enjoying it. Also, like in terms of just the success of it, I mean, it's a bittersweet thing, man, because it's like I never really wanted it to end, and
of course,
for different reasons it did.
Yeah.
And so like, there's part of me that's like, I'm happy it was as big as it was, but then sad that it came to an end the way that it did.
Yeah.
And even down to like, just the relationships that were severed, within the show. It's like, it's a little difficult. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Understandable.
we was all, you know, everybody was like a big family there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And things were like, you know, we really tight. We worked around the clock, literally. Like we
Yeah.
worked all day, all night. We didn't have any kind of social lives. So that kind of blood, sweat, and tears you put into a show, it becomes a part of you. And these characters become like real, like, you know, part of your life. So like so I kind of, I don't know, it's like I said, it's weird. Like there's days I have where like I'll be in a certain kind of mood where I'll reflect on stuff, and then there's days where I'm like want to kind of distance myself a little bit.
Understandable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, from the outside looking in, I mean, like I said, I don't know what happened behind the scenes besides that last season. We know that like a lot of the Aaron Magruder wasn't heavily involved in that last season, but the culture, like you said, we kind of still side with, I guess, the black side of it, because we was all like, everybody was just like, man, the feel like, for whatever reason, whatever happened behind the scene, like I said, we don't got to get into it, but for whatever reason, whatever happened, that last season, even though, you know, that last season was like, all right, we know that last season wasn't what the heart of the show was, right? And so,
yeah,
like,
for the record, I just want to say for the record, because I've heard many different things, you know, as far as like who was running the show during the fourth season, who was involved, who was like producing, whatever. Like I had nothing to do with the fourth season at all. Like I literally left after the third season,
right.
and you know, and some things went went down, and you know, but like, so I don't know, I don't know who was doing what on the fourth season, but I wasn't there.
All right. Yeah, but like I said, and to say the culture, like I said, we always like, all right, well, we know what the show is. We know, like I don't know if the case, but the white man got the got the bad rap for that last season. Like that's what it is. But nonetheless, we can get past that. So let's talk about Black Dynamite, because that's another show that is heavily culturally important. Got some dope casting with that as well. Some of the people that you work with on Boondocks was on that show. But you know, Michael Jai White, like, how was that show for you?
I mean, it was great, man. That was you know, it was a fun experience working with Mike, working with Kim Whitley, Tommy Davidson.
Tommy's dad,
Yeah, I mean, he's a clown, man. Just hysterical, you know.
He got so many classic just moments, even out of other shows, like, you know, like even when he was in Martin and like the talk show host, is like he's another person that you know distinctively by voice, and so like to hear him on that show was dope.
Yeah, well, that was what was cool about doing Black Dynamite, was each one of the actors brought their own real personality to the character, so it was easy to write it in that sense, because I was thinking, not what would Honeybee do, what would Kim Whitley do in this situation, or what would Michael Jai, because Michael Jai White is a lot like Black Dynamite in real life. Like this nigga,
it seems like it seems like, even like when you watch that movie, I was like, I feel like this is him in real life. Like
he is, man. He is. But also just being able to do a show that had that amount of like social commentary, and you know, like really being able to go hard, like on just about any taboo topic that we wanted. And you know, we poked fun at a lot of people. We, you know, and I don't know. There was a lot of lampooning we did. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It was fun, man. And I love the edginess of it, and the whole world of the '70s, which is really,
that black exploitation and stuff like that. Like it was just, I love everything that show embodied and brought. You know, because it was like, it brought that, but then it wasn't exactly that. And then it had, like you said, the social commentary and just the newness of now and everything. Like I thought it was pretty dope. Yeah, working
Thank you
with that.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sorry about that. When you were writing those characters, you said it was easy. When you were drawing those characters, and you said it was easy because they brought their characters to it. I would think that comes from, because you said that you were heavily influenced by like Eddie Murphy, like early on in your life. You was listening to Eddie Murphy, go back, listen to Red Fox, and just all those. So it's like, working with comedians, is that I guess, is that easier because they have so much characteristic on that stage than like drawing something that may not have a character base?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to write funny stuff for people who are already funny, you know. And again, like, you know, Mike. I mean, you know, Mike was he had a big role in the creative as well. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, and he's really funny. A lot of people would never notice, but he is really, really
I think
funny.
because when you listen to the voice of, like, you know, the character, and then even when you watch his movies, and because like he has one of those, to me, he has one of those comedic styles, like even if it's not just like boom boom boom, but he has one of those things where like whatever he says, you're gonna laugh.
It's subtle. He knows how to like really like pull a lot of comedy out of the subtleties, and he played Black Dynamite so straight, and he knew how to find the pockets of funny even in a character that's not silly. You know what I'm saying? Like he understood. Yeah. So that was amazing, man. And it was a great show, man. I don't know, like I'm still trying to find ways to possibly like bring it back. So, you know, we've had several conversations with some, you know, different people trying to see if there is a way.
Do you ever hit like any of these Comic Cons and anything like that, and see any of those any of the cosplayers? Because I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple, man. Well, I seen the one that was the most impressive to me, man, was Bushido Brown. Like we seen this one kid. He was like 6'4" or something, 6'3". He was like real tall, and he looked just like Bushido Brown. That's dope.
Crazy. Who was played by Michael Jai White, by the way?
Yeah, it is. Yep. Was there anything that ever like that didn't make it off of the writers board that you was like, dang, I wish we would have been able to get that out there?
A lot of stuff, man. Yeah. A lot of stuff. Let me see off the top of my head.
Anything you can share? I know sometimes that stuff is close knit and voted.
Oh no, I mean, there's there's one. Well, we ended up still doing it, but we had to do it a different way. So I didn't realize like doing anything with Oprah was like a no-no. Like you
got that call.
No, we did. We got that call from way, way, way up. And because I don't know if you remember the episode, Let's Nab Oprah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you notice in that episode you never saw Oprah.
Did you see her legs? Did you see the legs?
Yeah. We literally couldn't show her. And you know, because we had a whole bunch of Oprah jokes, all kind of Oprah shit.
Of course.
Well, the whole thing is we wanted to see Charlie Murphy, Sam Jackson, and Oprah Winfrey together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you wanted to see Ed and Rummy kidnap Oprah Winfrey and what that looked like, but we had to rewrite it, so we spent less time with that, and we put her in a bag, and you know what I'm saying? And then they didn't even have Oprah; they had Maya Angelou. Yeah. So like we had to change the whole thing, which was kind of.
But it still worked out. It still worked out because it was still like that funny to us. Like, you nabbed the wrong one.
Yeah. But nah, they was like, nah, nigga, no Oprah. You cannot touch Oprah. Like, we're not about to fuck up that relationship.
I wonder if that's the same thing, because you got to think, like, even in the Dave Chappelle episode, like when he did his whole, where he slept with Oprah and everything.
You didn't see her. You did not see Oprah.
You didn't even see like the actress that was supposed to be Oprah. All you saw was like her legs or like the silhouette of her body. So I wonder if that was the main thing. So with anime coming, like getting like a little bit more bigger now, like, you know, right now anime's been like at the cusp of a lot of things. And I know that generally you've been working with overseas animators and, you know, just to kind of bring that to life. Have you been working with more in-state or in-country, or are you still working with out-of-state animators to get that feel? Because you were saying it was that feel that a lot of Hollywood didn't understand, that's why you went overseas.
Yeah, it's a little both, man. I would say it's a mixture. And it's tough on both sides because we were doing an anime style show. Yep. You know, it was better for us to find animation studios in Korea and Japan because they understood the aesthetic, but they had no idea what the fuck we was talking about. So culturally, they will be way off. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they didn't quite understand the acting, and I actually remember one time they were trying to figure out like how come Huey never smiles, because if you look through the show, you'll never find a scene where Huey is smiling. Like that was something that was a rule that we had. Like Huey was to never smile, and they didn't understand it because they were like, he's a kid. Like how come he doesn't smile? And then Aaron told them he just said Malcolm X, and they were like, oh.
So they needed that reference point.
We get it. Like, we get it now. You know, but there was just such a huge cultural gap. So a lot of stuff would come back and it just would be all over the place and wrong, man. So we spent a lot of time revising storyboards and designs and and you know, we would end up going over budget and past over, you know, the schedule would get blown out. And so it was like, we got the best looking show, but the stuff would be off. So what we started doing was, I would literally act out everybody's lines on camera. So
send it with it.
Yeah, so all, like, when you see a pimp named Slickback and you notice like all the nuances in his acting and stuff, that all came from me being on camera.
Oh,
you know,
man.
so yeah, so with everything, Gangstalicious, when he's rapping, everything, like all of that, we just filmed. I would act out the entire script, and we send that over, and they would use that as reference. That's how we started doing it.
This is how much I watched the Boondocks and in general. One of the most funniest scenes to me with the pimp named Slipback is when he tells her, "Let's go," and then she tells him no, and he turns around. I laughed at that scene so much because the look that he gave her, like, what in the?
Yeah, took the hat.
Yeah.
Like,
So I know I've read and I've heard multiple like directors. I think Issa was saying it too as well. But one of the people that they said, one of the things they say about a writer's room, they said the best writer's room is a writer's room with conflict, not necessarily bad conflict, but where you're able to pick apart everything and have that that healthy debate and about like what should go in and what should not. My question that I wanted to ask you was like, was there anything out of any of your shows that you had to fight for, right? That like people were kind of opposed to, but then when it came out, it was like, it was good. It was like a great, and you was like, look, I done told y'all. Like,
yeah, it was there was one not too long ago. I did this show for Fuse called Sugar and Toys.
Yep, I was going to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we did this sketch with Dame Dash, where it was like, where Dame Dash was like trapped in a burning building, and the fireman and the fireman is like trying to save Dave, but Dame is, you know, he's from Harlem, right? Yeah. Like, I'm a grown man from Harlem. I don't let a nigga save me. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a burning building.
Yeah.
So this, you know, the sketch escalates to the point where like the whole building explodes and he's like laying there about to die, and they tell another guy to give him CPR, and he's like, I can't give a grown man CPR. I'm from Harlem. You know, we don't let I just never touch another grown man. So anyways, when I first pitched the idea, like Fuse was completely against it, to be honest. They were like, for many different reasons, they just didn't think that it worked. And I was like, yo,
it's gonna work.
Trust me. Please trust me. Like, I know, because I guess they like to go after like bigger, I don't want to say bigger, but broader targets. You know what I'm saying? Like they would, you know what I mean? But like, I'm like, but you know, Dame is like he's like an iconic part of the culture. He's like, in my mind, like, you know, you mentioned him along the lines of Russell Simmons or like, you know what I'm saying?
You have to.
And the shit was funny. I mean, Dame loved it, you know, because he and I are friends.
Right.
Yeah, so so that was the one sketch that like kind of caught fire on the internet compared to the other ones. Right, that was the one that really,
was the one. Yeah. But you know what's funny is like with Dame, he's guaranteed every year to give you that moment. Like no matter what, like when he went on Breakfast Club and he was like, "Look, you got to be your own boss." You know, it's like, like I'll never be a worker. Like, you know, he always had every year. There's a moment with Dame being Dame, and you love it. You just gotta love it because it's like, man,
I love what I love about that interview is after he went in on Charlamagne and DJ Envy, he was like, "Here, have some cookies. My son makes some cookies."
Yeah. Because that's the thing.
He's like, you share cookies with everybody.
Once you understand a Harlem nigga, it's never hate. It's just very, very aggressive and very, very direct. But it's still love. You know what I'm saying? It's still love.
He's the hustler. He's the hustler. You know? And even and he made some really, really great points. And
he did.
I'm honest, man. Like that's like one of my OGs. You know what I'm saying? And
that's dope.
He inspires me a lot, man. So but at the same time, I can see the comedy. You know, so, but yeah, that was one.
So speaking of Sugar and Toys, that show, out of all your shows, because I mean, all your shows you always poke fun at, you know, celebrities and just in general in good nature. But that show is a little bit more direct with poking fun. Like I think you guys have way more where you poke fun. Any backlash at all? Anybody coming at?
Nah, not yet, man. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think a whole lot of people seen the show.
What? I'm surprised.
Well, you know, I think I don't know, man. Like, you know, I mean, Fuse has been awesome. Like, because I don't think there's not a whole lot of places we could do a show like that, honestly. Because they let us go in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think, like, you know, I think this is their first time doing animation. You know, the show needs to grow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, and I think, I think we need a bigger promotional machine behind it. I think
makes sense.
You know, so that's why I think it hadn't really like caught on, but I like it, and it makes me laugh.
It, too. It makes me laugh. That the whole the Pusha T one that had me in tears.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like it's one of those things. Because like I think it's universally known, like Pusha T is probably the most immaculate drug dealer talking person in all of hip hop.
Yeah.
He can find ways to bring it, and the fact that you guys just have like everything he says, like, oh yeah, but you know I sold drugs, right? But I think the part that took me out was when they got stuck in the elevator. He was like, I got a way out. He was bringing out bricks out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he stacked the bricks up.
But the thing about it is, like, I got love for everybody that we fuck with. Like, I'm a big fan. Like, so it's always coming from a place of love. It's never like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I can tell by the jokes because like even with you being like you from Vietnam, so of course J. Cole. Everybody loves J. Cole, but the joke on the internet is he makes boring music. So the fact that y'all had you had that, like you can tell like that wasn't from a place of malice. That was just
absolutely
joking with it. And you know, I mean, I know there's, I mean, you know, I'm an artist myself, and as artists, they always say we have like fragile, egos and stuff like that. But I think now there is a turning point. People are able to joke on themselves a little bit more, and hopefully people can see the jokes in that, you know, and not take it to heart.
When we did Gangstalicious, we had rappers asking us like, yo, who that supposed to be, son? Like,
well, y'all had to put,
y'all
had to put the, is that why y'all had to put the disclaimer in front of Thugnificent?
Yes.
Because Gangstalicious y'all didn't, but Thugnificent, there was that disclaimer there.
This is not about any, it's not any rapper in particular.
Yeah, and I was, you know what? That was Most, right? Correct, if I'm not mistaken. That was Most that did the voice, right?
Most played him, but you know what's funny is like when Most came in to record the second time, he didn't know that the character was gay.
Oh,
so we were showing him a clip, right? He came in and we were showing him a clip, right? And he was watching the shit, and he was like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Oh, so the nigga's gay?" This is before he went in the booth. So I'm like, "Yeah, you know, he's kind of, you know what I'm saying?" He's like, "You still gonna do it, right?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I didn't know the nigga was gay." Like, all right. You know.
Hey, but he did it well. Like, it's funny because, like I said, I was gonna ask, like, how did you sell that to him? Because, you know, hip hop, you know, there's that masculinity, and you know, there was, especially at that time, there was not that many people. But I believe that was a turning point, because I was like, that to me, for as just watching and being a fan of just like hip hop in general, and being able to see Most play that, I was like, oh, you know what? I can take him serious as an actor, because I know he was making that wave over, right? And I equate voice acting to actual acting, and the fact that you are going to play a character that is gay, and knowing in the landscape of what hip hop was at that time, like, to me that was brave on him as an actor, and it showed range. It showed like, oh, you know what? Yeah, Most Def is willing to take his craft and actually, you know, it's not necessarily just about, oh, my image, but it's about, okay, what can I bring to this show or this entity that I'm a part of?
Well, if you think about the first episode where Gangstalicious was in, if you were an actor and you had all the lines, if you only had the sides, if you only had all the lines, you know, isolated by themselves, there was nothing there that really said, he didn't ever say, "I'm gay."
Right.
Wiley got that from it, right?
Yeah.
Like, towards the end. But he never actually said it. So, like, I think when he did it, and we didn't really, it's funny because it's not like we were trying to hide it, but we never really told him. Like, it was just like, you know, like, he was like, "Yo, it's some dudes I owe money to back when I was in the drug game." Like, it was just like, he had beef with some dudes. Yeah. And then at the end, like, even the fact that, like, the dudes kissed him or whatever, he didn't have any lines.
No, he didn't.
About the kids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when I thought back about it, I'm like, oh yeah, damn, he probably didn't put it together. Right. You know? And,
well, shit, remember Riley didn't even put it together. Remember Riley was like, I was dreaming. Like,
yeah.
So let's move on to Freaknik. So Freaknik the musical, which was something that stemmed from, well, not necessarily stemmed from, but it was David Banner had his show, The Crooked Sip, on there, and then if I'm not mistaken,
you good, man. You be up on it. That's
no,
cool.
listen here, man. Listen, I make sure that I do my necessary research.
No one. I've never did an interview with somebody who knew that.
Oh yeah, no, I make sure I do my research. Yeah. But how did they? Because like that was already rocking and rolling. How did you get involved with Freaknik?
So so they did this show. Adult Swim is doing this show called The Crooked Sip with David Banner, right? Mm-hmm. They got 3 episodes in, and I think they realized that the show needed a showrunner. They needed some help, right?
Yep.
And at the time, I think they aired it once or something. They aired one of the episodes on Adult Swim, and I caught it, and I spoke to one of the executives, Nick Weidenfeld, who was also over our show over the Boondocks. So after a notes call we did on the Boondocks, I was like, "Hey Nick, can I holler at you for a second?" He was like, "Yeah." So we got on the phone, and I was like, "Yo, that Crooked Sip shit is dope. Like, I love that, and I love David Banner. That shit is dope. Like, I just want to tell you, like, great job." And he was like, "Well, we need some help on the writing." And I was like, "Oh shit, like, what's up?
Right.
Like, let me get down." So he was like, "All right, so I'll send you the episodes we got and a couple of the scripts." So the next script, the fourth script was called Freaknik. It was an episode.
Yep.
And so I started doing some revisions on the script, right? And as I started to get into it and talking to Nick, we were like, "Yo, this shit, like, maybe we should get an hour or like at least like 2 points, because maybe this episode could be a bigger thing, and we could turn it into a musical or something, right?"
Right.
And so Nick went back and talked to Mike Lazo at the network. I think this is it's a long time ago, so I believe this is how it happened. Yeah. He went back and talked to Mike Lazo, and Lazo said, "You know what? Let's do it as a special. Let's air the special first, get the buzz going, and then come back and maybe do Crooked Sip." Right? So we started developing Freaknik as a musical and put Crooked Sip to the side. And as that was going on, I don't know, like David Banner was going through like some real changes. I think like, he started becoming like a lot more conscious and particular about, the stuff that he's saying with his art. And so we had these long conversations, man, where he was just like, "Yo, like, I don't know what we're saying. Like, I feel like we might be contributing to the problem." And, this whole thing with Freaknik and, women shaking their asses. And he said, "Man, we got women all over the place. They shaking their asses." I was like, "Nigga, it's called Freaknik." Like, that's what they do.
Right. It's a part of it.
Right. But but in his defense, like, I did understand where he was coming from, and I felt that too, because I feel like some degree of social responsibility too, and I'm conscious myself. You know what I mean? Like, so I felt like we did need to handle it in a responsible way, but also still keep the fun of it and make sure that it had a lot of heart. But I think it just wasn't enough for him, and he didn't want to put his name on something that didn't completely resonate with his brand and where the direction he was moving his music and stuff in. So he just respectfully bowed out. And then since T-Pain was going to be playing Freaknik anyway, he just kind of became the ambassador of it, and he EP'd it, and so we just ended up doing it without him. But that's kind of how it all went down.
So T-Pain playing Freaknik and with the auto tune, like that was always going to be an aspect of that show.
He was going to play Freaknik, but we didn't know it was. Honestly, it wasn't going to be on the scale of what we ended up delivering. At the end, like it was, because it became one of those things. Yeah.
You said it was supposed to be an episode.
But I'm saying, but even when we decided to make it like a special, a movie or whatever, we didn't realize we were going to have so many cameos, right?
Okay, makes sense.
So many rappers involved. CeeLo was in it. We had Snoop, we had Lil Wayne. Charlie Murphy was in it. We had Quincy. George Clinton and Bootsy Collins, and you know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. Like everybody wanted to be up. But Rick Ross was in it.
Yeah, Rick Ross. Yep. And
I remember Rick Ross. He when he recorded his lines, as soon as he left the booth, he called us and he was like, "Yo, I just want to thank y'all, man, for making my dream come true." He's like, "I always wanted to be a cartoon, and it's like meant a lot to me." And that shit was like that really moved me, man. Like it was special. Everybody was a part of it. Like they really, really they just loved it, man. That's the one thing I wish we could have did more with, you know. But because it was, I don't know, that one was pretty special to me. You know what I'm saying?
So, question, because now you brought it up, like Rick Ross saying that, you know, you made his dream, and you said that you get pitched a lot by rappers. It's always like, all right, boom, it's me as a kid, and like you get that. So how does somebody get past that? Because I mean, you are, if I'm not mistaken, you work with Tyler the Creator, right?
Yeah.
Yep, you did that. So like, how does, because like you said, artists do have good stories. When do you get past the all right, boom, it's me phase and say, all right, let me take this serious and see, like, how does one get past that with you?
Wait, how does one get past that with me?
Yeah, because like you said, you I mean, I know you listen to the pitches, but it's like it's always the same. It's always the all right, boom, it's me as a kid. But like, when do you start saying like, all right, let me see if I can take this serious, or like, I guess, like, what is that process?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, what I usually try to do is think about the point of view of the artist, right?
Okay.
And you know, trying to find a way to translate their music into a show, you know, and figure out, because I feel like to me, you always get better material when it's not so on the nose. Yeah. Like, you know, and a lot of times I understand the idea of like an artist, because a lot of artists do want to see themselves animated, right? Yeah. But like, I usually will try to I would listen to what I think is the most exciting about, or what's the most exciting to them, or what they want to say the most, and then I'll build a show around that particular thing, aside from seeing themselves. Like if there's something, like if there's a really strong voice there in the music, or something that really, you know, you after a while, after you take enough pictures and you talk to people, you get a feel, you start to get a sense for what excites people the most, and then I just focus all of my attention on that and start building that part of the show out. And then usually, if it's a good idea, they're not so, they're cool, you know. And Tyler, on the other hand, like Tyler's just a creative genius anyway. Yeah, 100%. So like his mind is operating a whole nother space and I can't even visit. Yeah. You know. So I didn't have that was all him. You know what I'm saying? I just helped them, you know, because I just helped them, you know, put the show together and write it, and you know what I'm saying, and make sure that we, you know, delivered a show that the network will be happy with also, you know what I'm saying?
So something that just recently came out, I do believe it dropped this week or maybe last week, but you did some animation for the Black Lady Sketch Show. Yeah. Now, is there going to be more of that, or was that just like a one-time thing?
Yeah, it was a one-time thing. Because what happened was, before that, we did another animated. Me and my partner Brian Ash, we did some commercial animation stuff on the side. Okay. And so we did a spot for HBO Backstories with Yvonne Orji. That was the first one that we actually did, and they liked it so much that they called us again to do another one for Robin Thede and the Black Lady Sketch Show. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. And you know what? I love seeing all the Black creators work together like that, because you got, like you said, Yvonne Orji and Robin Thede and Issa Rae and like all those people who are been pushing, you know, a lot of this, you know, this new Black wave, and, you know, seeing, you know, you who've been, you know, fighting that fight and been in that, you know, as a Black creator for so long, getting, you know, linking up with people of that, you know, of that stature, and still, you know, putting something together and putting something out to the world. I think that that's super dope, because that's something that we need to see more of, is those Black creators working, you know, which moves into my next question about Young Love that's about to be coming out under HBO Max, which is an extension or extended version of Hair Love, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's is anything you can tell us about that? I know that it's, you know, it's coming to HBO Max. I know we obviously can't give out everything about it, but like, what can we expect from this show?
Yeah, I can't give away too many details, but so you know, the show is now called Young Love, right? Mm-hmm. And I would just say the point of view of the show is skewed a little older, you know, whereas like the short film was a little more about this, you know, a young sweet girl and her father trying to, you know, do her hair for the first time. Right. But a lot of it was seen from her point of view.
Yeah.
And the series is I think a little edgier and a little more mature. And yeah, we're just kind of building out the world around this family, you know, the mother, the father, and the daughter. But we're still in the early stages of like completely fleshing it out. But
Okay.
yeah.
One thing that I'm looking forward to, and it's maybe small to some, but I think that what's going to be dope is when you look at animation in general and Black people and how they're represented in animation. One of the things that never really gets right always is our hair texture and hairstyles. So knowing that, you know, somebody of of your nature is going to be, working on it and show running that, and just knowing like where like one is like, the father having to deal his daughter's hair for the first time. This is just me just like, foreseeing it. Like I'm like, oh, we're probably gonna get some good hair representation in these, because I like that's one of the things that I was like, man, like even in video games, it's like they be giving us trash hairlines. They be giving us, so it's like, but so anytime that I see a game like involved, like when they did the reveal for the new Miles Morales game, his hairline was way better than PS4 Miles Morales, and I was like, somebody black was like, hey man, hey,
Yeah.
we need to fix that, because black hair in black hair in the Black community, like that is a huge thing for us. You got to think the amount of times like a guy and his barber, like that's a relationship, like and then women in the shop, like that is an all day thing, but it's a thing like hair is very important to us.
Yes. Yeah. Very.
All right. So, was you going to say something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was going to say. So we on this, what we do is like I always like to do like a top 5, right? Because I always like to get kind of like some from the person. One of them is going to be just more so in your realm. One of them are always like it's kind of like a hot seat, a little bit of hot seat. But the first one that I want to do, I was like, because of like you're being an animator, showrunner, producer, top 5 shows for you, like in that animated realm.
Oh, animation?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Top 5 animation. I don't, not necessarily in order, or does it have to be?
Doesn't have to be in order.
So not necessarily in order. Then okay, that's easier. So does it have to be a movie, or can it be a TV show too? TV show?
It could be movies if you want to throw.
All right, so
we'll call it top 5 animated properties. There we go.
Got you. Okay, so Redline, one of my favorite animes. The director is Takashi Koike. I don't know if you want to look that up if you haven't heard of it.
Definitely.
Haven't seen it. It's really dope. Redline. Another one would be I love Tekken Concrete.
Okay.
That's another anime, Tekken Concrete. I'm a big Invader Zim fan. Love Invader Zim.
I fuck with Invader Zim too. My son was watching it and I just remember watching like, all right, it's kind of lit. It's kind of lit.
Yeah, man. But then I also like, I like a lot of cartoony stuff, man. So I'm a big like, I'm a big Looney Tunes fan.
Okay.
So
respect.
Anything Looney Tunes, because I'm a big Chuck Jones fan. I love Ren and Stimpy. Fat Albert in the Gang.
Okay.
Other one. Yeah.
All right. No, respect. So like before I get into my other top 5, are you currently watching any anime right now? Anything right now?
Anime? Nah, you know what I've been watching lately? I just finished Solar Opposites.
Okay.
Which is amazing. That shit is so funny, man. And I'm also a big Simpsons fan and a big Family Guy fan too. I just want to throw it. But Solar Opposites, man. Oh my God, this is hilarious. Today I was watching Squidbillies.
You know what? I never got into Squidbillies. Got into Squidbillies. Like I've been like heavily, we talk about it all the time on our podcast. We talk about just different anime. So I just like finished and got caught up on Tower of God, which is the dope ass anime that we've been watching.
Nice.
But it's just like, Squidbillies is one of like I probably watched pretty much almost everything on Adult Swim, but except Squidbillies. I did not. I didn't give it a chance.
Dude, you got to give it a chance, man. I'm telling you, it's nuts, man. It's really dope.
All right.
That reminds me, and Samurai Champloo too. Big fan of Samurai Champloo.
Okay, all right. All right, so this is going to be the hot seat one a little bit.
Okay.
You work with a lot of voice actors.
Oh,
Top
boy.
5 voice actors that you work with.
Oh, man. Oh, man. You gonna do that. JB Smooth.
I fucking love JB Smooth.
Incredible. JB Smooth is incredible. John Witherspoon. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
Amazing. Regina King, of course.
Yep.
That's 3, right?
Yeah, that's 3.
Oh, man. This is tough. Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy. Rest in peace. Oh, my God. Like, amazing. Man, if I had one more put in there. But see, this last one is kind of not going to be fair because he's like good across the board. Like not just voiceover, he's just one of the best actors. But Sam Jackson was amazing too.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. Sam Jackson was the only actor that I seen come in, and he had his line because with voiceover you can read from a script.
Yeah. But
he had all his lines together, and he just like ran straight through the script like one take each.
So here's what I saw in it. It may have been Breakfast Club, but he said he was like, I always take a script and I read it and then I alter it to what I think would be best. And he said, when I tell the director, he said he's like, I'm amazing to work with. He said, I'll record it and I'll do it your way, but I'm gonna do it my way, and you're gonna love my way. And I was like, only somebody of his level could do that.
So I got a Sam Jackson story for you.
Oh, let's go.
You'll get a kick out of this one. So like. So you remember we had when Ed Rummy was robbing the bank, right?
Yeah.
In the so in the Boondocks, for those who don't know, right?
Yeah, for those who don't know.
So Sam Jackson, who he plays, right? So he's in the booth, and so he's reading his lines, and the voice. Now, mind you, up until this point, no one has ever given Sam Jackson any kind of direction. This is the first time. Actually, I think this was the first record session we had with him. So the voice director, she goes, Mr. Jackson, could we get you to do that line again and just slow it down a little bit because we're just a little too fast. And Sam said, how many banks have you robbed? She was like, excuse me? He said, I said, how many banks have you robbed? She was like, well, I never robbed any banks, Mr. Jackson. He said, well, when you're robbing a bank, you want a sense of urgency in your voice. Now let's keep going. Okay. All right. I actually got 2 Sam Jacksons. I made the biggest fool of myself because so I did a live action show. It was a sketch comedy show I did on Fox called In the Flow with Affion Crockett.
Yep. And
we did the sketch. It was a Tiger Woods sketch. But it was at a putt, like a what do you call those, like golfing games? Those little putt golfing.
Oh, like the mini
golf, golf thing. Yeah, North Carolina we call it putt. But it was like a mini golf place, whatever. So there was a part of the sketch where like Sam Jackson, oh that's right, where Tiger Woods swings and he hits the ball, but it hits Sam Jackson in the back of the head. But we don't know it's Sam until he turns around. And then Sam starts walking towards him in slow motion, right? And he has his lines or whatever once he comes in contact with Tiger. And I remember, I don't know what I was thinking. But after the first take, I had notes. I had some direction I needed to give Sam Jackson. So I ran up to him and I said, hey, Mr. Jackson, I was thinking, instead of saying it that way, you could say, hey, motherfucker, was that you? Did you that motherfucker? Whatever it was I said, right. I was doing his voice to him. Oh. The ultimate no. Right? Nigga, as I was saying it, I knew I fucked up.
You just had that meme in your you know you done fucked up, right?
Yo, I knew I fucked up, right? And I'm just like, I'm trying to hide my face, and he said, And he just looked at me. And he was throwing a golf ball up in his hand at the same time, going, And I said, you know what? Ignore what I just said. Actually, I love that one. That was great. Anybody thirsty? Y'all hungry?
That's hilarious. Like I feel like he gets that a lot. Like he's one of those people. Like it's just like you know what? Just be you, Sam. But it's like you know, you're so used to, you're in the moment of being the director or, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like.
Yeah, I fucked up. I messed up, man.
Do you pay attention to any of like the upcoming like black geeks, like the people like the content creators, like, you know, like the King Vaders or the RDC World and stuff like that?
I don't, man, but yo, put me on.
Definitely
Right?
put you on, because like, so in this realm, you know, being able to go to like these conventions and everything, there's these YouTubers or people that's on social media, but they're crossing over and trying to, you know, change things up. King Vader's one. He always does like he'll do like the Hood Naruto or Hood like Dragon Ball Z, and he puts these things on like where he does these high quality videos, decent graphics and everything, but it's like you can tell attention to like the story. This is where I knew where I started taking them extra serious. We did last year. We was at Crunchyroll Expo, and we was like doing live broadcasting, live podcasting, and he was there. And when he came in, like he had his crew, like the people that be in the videos with him, and he had like this boombox. So he had this theme to the Hood Naruto, like a hip hop version of the Naruto theme. And the way Crunchyroll had it set up, they called it New Crunchy City, where it was like a city landscape, but it was like there was like a central area. And he came in and his guys, and he played the song, and he had this dance that he does with it. And when he did the dance and he played the song, all you saw was just everybody like just run. And it was like a crowd of people doing it. I was like, oh, he out here doing it, right? And then like our DC World, like they just do like these, they're like,
That's
you know,
dope.
a sketch comedy group, and like they just do all these hood videos, but it's like videos, you know, like in this black geek world. And the reason why I bring it up, and I talk to a lot of, you know, other black creators about it, because I was like, I think like with them doing what they're doing, with you doing what you're doing, I said, this is just adding to it, you know, it's just adding to this normalization of the black geek, because, you know, the
man.
geek has this, you know, the geek nerd world has this stigma, like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, it's not cool, but it's like, there's some cool motherfuckers in this world. Like, you know what I'm saying? You meet King Vader, he's one of the coolest motherfuckers ever. And you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's only like 21, you know, and he's doing our DC world. I think they're like in their early 20s. So it's just like this new age of black geek, you know, and just even hearing it in like hip hop and just people accepting it more. I still like to try to highlight some people and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Maybe there's some stuff we could do together, man. So if you know people you want to connect me with, like, please do.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So one last segment that we do is called recommendations, right? Where you recommend something. It could be something that either you're doing, something that you're watching, something that you're reading, but something that you think our viewers would benefit from checking out.
We're checking out. Let me see, man. I would definitely. There's a book I would recommend.
Okay.
I recommend this book to. It's funny. I got it right here too.
Yeah.
I recommend this book to any like aspiring directors, even writers or animators, producers. But it's called, I feel like we're doing an advertisement now.
Yeah.
It's called Shot by Shot.
Mm-hmm.
But this book right here, man, is like it's about film directing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you plan on getting into animation, you got to know how. Well, especially from the visual side. Well, actually, from the writing and the visual side, you want to know how to direct, because sometimes you have to direct from the page.
Yeah.
And if you're doing storyboards, right, you have to understand where to put the camera, and you have to understand the language, of directing, and just how to tell a story, sequentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this book right here is like, it's amazing. This was like one of the first books that I used, because I didn't go to, like, I dropped out of high school, and I had to teach myself how to animate, how to storyboard, do character design, I had some good mentors,
yeah,
but a lot of it came from some really good books, and this is one of them. So I definitely recommend people to go get this, man. It's called Shot by Shot.
Dope. You know what's dope? Like I said, this is going to be this is technically episode 7 of this 1's that I've been doing, right? But every black creator that I had on here has recommended a book.
Really? Oh, wow.
And I said, I think that's dope, because it's like, it shows like, we're like, as creators, we're not just jumping in for the quick fix. We are actually studying this. We are taking that time to build our knowledge bank. And the fact that everybody is recommending books is dope, because it's like, yo, you got to also read and practice this craft and get up that way and everything.
I got another. You can keep talking about. There's another book I actually want to recommend.
Oh, go ahead, recommend it.
I want to. Hold on, my girl went to go get it.
No doubt.
It might be in the other room. I think with the by the comic book.
While she's looking for that, I'll give you a recommendation that I want to recommend to you. And you're probably already aware of it. Are you aware of Trill League and Anthony Piper?
Of course.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I that's one of the things. There's this surgence of Black creators and things like that. I got introduced to Trill League probably like 2 years ago, and I fell in love ever since.
Yeah.
And I was super excited about him getting his opportunity, because I know I did the Patreon. Like, I gave money to him because I was like, I understand what he's doing, and I know like he was having that fight with adult, not necessarily fight, but he was climbing that ladder trying to get Trill League placed somewhere. So the fact that 50 Cent stepped in and is helping him out there with that, like, I was like, I saw that as a win. Like, I was celebrating like it was me, and I got nothing to do with it. But I was like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Just to see that. There's also another Black creator. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but like
I'm sorry.
No problem. He does this like comic strip on Twitter called The Bouncer, and he used to be a bouncer, so it's based upon him. He used to be a bouncer. And so, but what's hilarious about what the content that he does, so he'll do like a one page and just put it out on Twitter every now and then. And the one page is him at the club, and it's usually what's going on in the world now, but it's like him interacting with, a celebrity. So it may be, it may be him interacting with Kanye after he said slavery was a choice, trying to get into a club, but it's him as a bouncer, like denying him because of what he said and stuff. Like, it's super dope and everything like that. So like, that's another one that I would, just recommend, like, look it up and just, check it out and everything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. You know what, one of the things I was thinking about doing, man, over the years, I've been, putting together all of these experiences and resources and trying to put together a program that can help to teach like young people who are aspiring, animators and writers and producers, but to educate them more so on how to like craft your idea to get it to a place where it is sellable, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's because there's a lot that goes into just the development of your idea alone. Because I get a lot of people that come to me and they'll have stuff, that they think is completely finished and ready to go to the market, and there's a lot of stuff that you'll miss if you haven't been in a lot of rooms pitching and getting turned down. And because I've been in rooms where it's crickets, you know what I'm saying? And no, that's all right. There's one with Joe Murray. It was the white one, the one when we tried to. This is a good one too, but.
Hey man, listen, as many recommendations as possible, because one of the things, even with the Geek property, with my whole podcast, Geek Set Podcast, we do the recommendations because it was like, a lot of people are either just listening for the first time, and so you may just have people that are just fans of you that's just like, oh, let me see what Carl Jones is talking now, and then, oh, he got an interview with Geek Set. Who's Geek Set? And then when they check it out, they don't know, like, they may be interested in something. I've talked to so many people that, man, I'm interested in, like, getting back into comic books, but I don't know what to start with, and they take my recommendations and it helps them jump back into it. So like I said, you're not limited to one. If you have multiple books you want to, you can recommend as much as you can.
Yeah. There's another there's a Disney book called Paper Dreams, which is really good, really, really good. I stole that one from the library when I was younger, because it's a thick book, man. But it's it's the Disney way, which is, I think, I don't know, it's an important part of learning about this medium. Like, I think you want to start with some of the people that did it the best.
Yeah, you gotta know the history. You gotta do, that's the one thing that I always cringe at. Like, I know that sometimes there's like, in no matter what realm it is, but I remember, like, in hip hop specifically, there was a whole lot of new artists that was coming in the game, and they was like really like disregarding the history. And I was just like, it makes it hard, because it's like, like, you don't want to hate on the new artists coming, but it's like, if you're not showing any love for those before you, it's hard for somebody who, like me, who, like, came from, you know what I'm saying, the golden era of hip hop into now and everything like that. It's like there's a lot of new artists that I rock with, but it's like the ones that say stuff like that, I'm like, it makes it hard for me to want to listen to you, because it's like you're not really respecting the craft, which I look at music as a craft. So we talked a little bit about, like, you know, Young Love. What else is coming for you? Like, what else can the world expect coming from you that you can speak on?
No, because I got an announcement coming soon. There's a really, really, really special project coming up.
All right, well, make sure y'all follow at I Am Carl Jones to hear this announcement, because the announcement's coming soon.
Yeah, coming hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy. I want to say something so bad, but I can't.
It's all right. It's all right. Maybe you tell me off camera.
yeah. But other than that, man, you know, on the development side, you know, I'm always developing stuff. You know, just you know, I learned in this industry you got to have stuff on the back burner, because, you know, shows come and go. You know what I mean? Like, you can be working one day and the next day you're not. So like, I came into this with that kind of mentality already. You know what I'm saying? So I constantly keep something on the stove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have stuff in development, and I'm you know, I'm always looking to develop stuff that gets me excited, and that you know, especially stuff that's definitely like hip hop driven, or has some parts of the music, you know, the music culture as a part of it. Like, a lot of what I do is like music inspired or music driven, or I'm doing stuff with music artists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah.
All right. One last thing. Anything that I do.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. There is another project. So so I was developing a animated series for Juice WRLD.
Okay.
Yeah, before he passed, and yeah, man. So, you know, once that happened, you know, his people basically decided that they wanted to take the property and turn it into a graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's called Fighting Demons.
Okay.
And it's yeah, so it's like a paranormal comic book anthology, right? That is basically made up of, you know, multiple individual stories by different comic book artists in the industry, and that one I'm really excited about. That's about as much as I could tell you, but it does. The book itself does tackle a lot of what Juice WRLD's music was about, and I think he was real inspirational to a lot of young people that was battling depression and you know, and fighting different demons. You know what I'm saying? So like, the book is really, it's really more of an homage, I guess you could say, you know, to him and his and what he stood for and what his music was about, and kind of, I don't know, I wanted to do something. When they came to me with it, I wanted to make sure that we were doing something that was, you know, that didn't feel like it was exploitive. I didn't want to do anything that was exploitive, and it's definitely not for money. It's all really just to keep his name alive, to keep his brand alive, and his voice, because you know, like I said, he was the voice of a generation of people that are dealing with a lot of, you know, a lot of troubles, and I think this book would be real inspirational also.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, and that's the one thing, you know, there's, because it's love behind it, and it's something, like you said, it speaks to like that generation. I think that's one of the main themes about a lot of the properties that you had, that you are involved with, whether it was a tongue-in-cheek or whether it was a comedy, you always spoke to the culture, and, you know.
Thank you.
And I think that was dope. So you know, definitely, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
The Booty Warrior spoke to the culture?
Huh?
The Booty Warrior spoke to the culture?
I mean, it let people know, like, hey, you know what? It did.
I liked you, and I won't.
Because it spoke to the culture of, you don't want to go to prison. Remember, Tom didn't want to go to prison because.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, you know what? All right, I've been trying. I know I got to end it soon, but I meant to ask you, because, like you said, you used to manage this rapper by the name of Tube Steak, and I want to know what's up with Tube Steak.
Oh my God! Yeah, I've been trying to like I've been trying to get away from this character.
I often think, I'm like, man, what would Tuesday be doing in this realm right now?
Dude, you just made my girlfriend happy. Because every time, I always try to like hide it, and on social media, somebody will pop up like, "Hey man, what's up with tube steak? Fuck all this other shit. What's up with tube steak, nigga?
What's up with tube steak, man?
Talk about these cartoons."
You got to animate tube steak in something recently. Like you should just
that's not a bad idea.
Even if you just did a short just for Instagram and Twitter or something, just something that I think the world would eat it up and love it.
No, thank you, man. Nah, man, you know what? That started out as just like a joke, man. Like we would, you know what happened was when we were doing the Boondocks, that there was a period of time we went through a writer's strike, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody had to pretty much stop writing, and so we had this long pause in the schedule, and we was bored, and we was trying to find some other shit we could do. So we started doing this. It was a character I used to just play like around the office. I would just do shit. Like,
I assumed it was a behind the scenes thing that got brought to light.
Yeah, but you know what it was inspired by? Honestly, was you know who Uncle Murder is?
Of course.
Okay, so I saw an interview that Uncle Murder did at a party, and I think Sub-Zero was the one that shot it, right?
Yeah.
And because I told you I was a world star.
Yeah, of course.
Junkie, right? So he was talking about in the interview how some niggas stepped to him and they robbed him, and I think, well, there was two interviews he did. One that he said that they shot at him, right? Yeah. But he said the niggas, like the bullet like grazed him, and he was talking shit to the shooters because the bullet grazed their head. He was like what kind of gangsters graze niggas in the head with bullets? Like if you was a real G, you would have shot me in my head. Like he was not. Yeah. He wouldn't even. I was like, yo, that's amazing. I thought it was amazing that he is criticizing the niggas that robbed him because they didn't shoot him in his head. They only grazed him.
Like,
so
he gave them a 2-star rating on there.
Yeah. And then so it was that, and then it was mixed with a little Gilly the Kid, because I was watching at the time. Gilly was beefing with some people. It was like Lil Wayne and some other people. Yeah. And he just had this swagger, like, and I used to watch his videos over and over and over again, because I like to study. Like, I'm a character student. Like I study people's character. Sometimes I'll sit outside and or wherever we're at, and I'll just observe people in line at a grocery store or anything. I don't know. I'm just fascinated with just, I don't know, like just watching people and how they act, and just, you know. And so like that was like, to me, that was like a textbook. Like World Star Hip Hop was like, I was literally like just in class all day watching how people behave and act. And I would just absorb it all. And then when we're writing, I would take some of those things and put it in stuff that I would make. I mean, that's really what it was. So like with that, I just started going around the office, which was really a house. And I would just play these characters, man. You know what I'm saying?
It gave a lot of hilarious moments, man. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, where can people find you, man? How can people stay up to date with what you on?
Instagram, I am Carl Jones. Twitter, I am Carl Jones, and kind of on Facebook sometimes, but that's about it right now.
All right, man. Well, again, man, this is the Geek Set Podcast, the only place that blend hip hop culture and geek culture together. I've been your boy Deuces. This has been the legend Carl Jones, and man, thank y'all for tuning in.
You like that video? Man, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. We got so many more videos on our page, so make sure you check them out over here. Hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that way you can always be notified anytime we release a new video. You already know how Geek Set get down. We got so much coming for y'all, man. Check it out. Stay in tune.
There was a time where hip-hop culture and geek culture were at odds.